All right, the next one is the Duroc. So the Duroc is more of a red color. They have drooped ears. They have a good growth rate, so they grow really fast. And they have an excellent feed conversion. So again, they can convert their feed into meat very quickly. The Hampshire, they are black with a white belt. They have erect ears, good muscle, and they have a good carcass leanness. So again, just means that they have really good meat. You'll learn the parts of the hog that we eat. A lot of people already know the ham, bacon, pork shoulder, things like that. Some people eat pig ears, pig's feet. Maybe you're one of those people. I personally do not, but I've heard that some people like them. So the Yorkshire, so this is the other white one that I was talking about. Yes, you can see here that she is pregnant. She's not just that large, but she is pregnant. It looks like about to have her babies there. White, but they have erect ears. So the other breed that we talked about, the American Landrace, that has they have the drooped ears, whereas the Yorkshire has the erect ears. So that just means they stand up straight instead of drooping. So again, that is a big difference between the two to note. They have good feed efficiency, excellent growth and mothering ability, and a very long carcass. The Berkshire originated in England, black with white legs, snout, and switch. So switch just means their tail. Once kept at Buckingham Palace, this was the breed of pig that they had at Buckingham Palace. It's known for producing high quality meats, and it also has erect ears. This is the Poland China. Looks very similar to the Berkshire, but it is the Poland China. Their snouts are a little bit different. This one's a little bit longer than the Berkshire. This is the Chester White. This is the Tamworth. This is the Spotted Swine. And that is it for our swine. So remember on the PowerPoint, make sure you go through and answer those questions to make sure that you get credit. All right, for poultry breeds, so for poultry breeds, they're a little bit different. We're gonna watch a quick video for them.
The annals of ancient Egyptian king Musa III described a marvelous foreign bird that gives birth daily. Zoroastrians viewed them as spirits whose cries told of the cosmic struggle between darkness and light. Romans brought them on their military campaigns to foretell the success of future battles. And today, this bird still occupies an important, though much less honorable position on our dinner plates. The modern chicken is descended primarily from the red jungle fowl and partially from 3 other closely related species, all native to India and Southeast Asia. The region's bamboo plants produce massive amounts of fruit just once every few decades. Jungle fowls' ability to lay eggs daily may have evolved to take advantage of these rare feasts, increasing their population when food was abundant. This was something humans could exploit on a consistent basis, and the bird's weak flight capabilities and limited need for space made them easy to capture and contain. The earliest domesticated chickens, dating at least back to 7,000 years ago, weren't bred for food, but for something considered less savory today. The aggressiveness of breeding males armed with natural leg spurs made cockfighting a popular entertainment. By the 2nd millennium BCE, chickens had spread from the Indus Valley to China and the Middle East to occupy royal menageries and to be used in religious rituals. But it was in Egypt where the next chapter in the bird's history began. When a hen naturally incubates eggs, she will stop laying new ones and sit on a clutch of 6 or more eggs for 21 days. By the middle of the first millennium BCE, the Egyptians had learned to artificially incubate chicken eggs by placing them in baskets over hot ashes. That freed up hens to continue laying daily, and what had been a royal delicacy or religious offering became a common meal. Around the same time as Egyptians were incubating eggs, Phoenician merchants introduced chickens to Europe, where they quickly became an essential part of European livestock. However, for a long time, the chicken's revered status continued to exist alongside its culinary one. The ancient Greeks used fighting roosters as inspirational examples for young soldiers. The Romans consulted chickens as oracles, and as late as the 7th century, the chicken was considered a symbol for Christianity. Over the next few centuries, chickens accompanied humans wherever they went, spreading throughout the world through trade, conquest, and colonization. After the Opium Wars, Chinese breeds were brought to England and crossed with local chickens. This gave rise to a phenomenon called hen fever, or the fancy, with farmers all over Europe striving to breed new varieties with particular combinations of traits. This trend also caught the attention of a certain Charles Darwin, who wondered if a similar selective breeding process occurred in nature. Darwin would observe hundreds of chickens while finalizing his historic work, introducing the theory of evolution. But the chicken's greatest contribution to science was yet to come. In the early 20th century, a trio of British scientists conducted extensive crossbreeding of chickens, building on Gregor Mendel's studies of genetic inheritance. With their high genetic diversity, many distinct traits, and only 7 months between generations, chickens were the perfect subject. This work resulted in the famous Punnett square, used to show the genotypes that would result from breeding a given pairing. Since then, numerous breeding initiatives have made chickens bigger and leaner and allowed them to lay more eggs than ever. Meanwhile, chicken production has shifted to an industrial factory-like model, with birds raised in spaces with a footprint no larger than a sheet of paper. And while there's been a shift towards free-range farming due to animal rights and environmental concerns, most of the world's more than 22 billion chickens today are factory farmed. From gladiators and gifts to the gods, to traveling companions and research subjects, chickens have played many roles over the centuries, and though they may not have come before the proverbial egg, chicken's fascinating history tells us a great deal about our own. So what about the chickens? What do they think of all this? Since we can't say for sure, why not take a moment to learn more about how animals communicate?
All right, so that just kind of talked about the history of chickens, how they came to be, how they came to be a source of food for us, and the different roles they've played throughout our history. They're really different birds. For the most part, they're good birds. Every now and then I have a rooster that's extremely mean, so sometimes that happens, but they're good birds to have, especially if you want to have your own food source and you don't have a lot of land or a large area. Chickens are a really good animal for that. They don't have any type of breed registries, and a lot of people just kind of develop their own breeds. They crossbreed them and try out different breeds together to make their own breeds. The breed is the group of related fowl that breed true for a specific trait. The type, so that would be the purpose for which it's bred. So just like you have dairy cows and beef cows, for chickens you also have types. So we have chickens that are bred for laying eggs, and then we have chickens that are bred for meat to eat. And so there are 2 different classifications. The classes, that's where they originate from. So layers, that's what it's called when they are the egg producing chickens. So layers that produce chicken eggs, the white egg producers. So if you've ever seen, there's white eggs, but then sometimes there's brown eggs or like tanner eggs, sometimes there's green eggs. And so those all come from different breeds of chicken. It depends on what breed you have. The white leghorns have white plumage and they are smaller in size. And so that's the ones that produce the white eggs or white leghorn chickens. Brown egg producers are larger birds that are not as economical, so you can't keep them, as many of them in a smaller space because they're just larger birds. But the types are Rhode Island Reds. They have dark red plumage. New Hampshires, which have red plumage. Plumage just means feathers. So they just have red feathers. That's what that means. And then the Plymouth Rock has white plumage. It's usually like a white and black spotted. So they have white and black feathers. So this is a picture of the white leghorns. This is a barred rock, Rhode Island Red. These are layer cages. So they were talking about how some farms have moved toward this layer cage model. The past 10 years though, they've been moving away from this model. They've been going to more of a free range style because it's more humane. But this is what it looks like. So then when they lay eggs, the eggs come down and go right here on this belt, and then they just get taken to where they can get picked up. The meat producers, when we talk about meat chickens, chickens that are used for meat are called broilers. These birds are used for meat production. They're usually a commercial cross, so it might be a cross between a white Plymouth female to a Cornish male. It's usually a cross type breed. And this might be what they look like. You can tell they're a little bigger, stoutier, have more meat. This is what they call a broiler house. So this is where they raise the ones for meat. So you can tell there's a lot of them in a small space. But it's still, better than cages. They do still have free range, can walk around each other. They have food. These little lines here are food, and they have water that comes down that they can get. And then lastly, we have our turkeys. So if you've ever gone turkey hunting, you may have seen some of these. The first one is the broad-breasted white turkey. It has white feathers. The shanks, feet, and beak are white or pink. And then it has white pin feathers that helps increase the value of the carcass. So that's the little feathers that are like under the larger feathers, the pin feathers. They survive better in hotter climates. They have good body conformation, but they are smaller than other breeds. So this is the broad-breasted white turkey. The broad-breasted bronze, so they have black plumage, dark colored pin feathers. They are the largest of the turkey varieties. They can't reproduce as well because they have poor fertility and reproductive problems. The males are not as good of breeders as the broad-breasted white. There's the broad-breasted bronze. And then the Beltsville small white. This breed was actually developed by the United States Department of Agriculture. So they actually developed this through a series of crossbreeding. It's similar to the broad-breasted white, but it's about 10 pounds less in weight. So that way, if you don't want such a large turkey, you do have the option to get the smaller one, which would be the Beltsville small white. And that's what the Beltsville looks like. All right, any questions on that? I know we go through them really fast, and it's just me talking at you for this part. But that just kind of goes back to like the terms and the breeds. These are things you just have to know. So make sure that you're studying them, make sure you're doing your notes and completing the breed book. That'll help you start to remember these breeds as we continue to talk about them in other ways. Speaking of the breed book, does anybody have any questions about the breed book?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So just to kind of reiterate, it's going to be a book. It can be a physical book if you want to draw it on paper, or it can be a PowerPoint, and you can make a slide for each thing. But you'll need a title page, so your name, class period, and then breed book as your title. And then for each breed that we're doing, you'll need a title page for that. So for the beef cow title page, you need at least the name of the breed and at least one picture. You can do a picture of a breed of beef cow, or it could be a picture of a product like hamburger or steak that comes from that cow. And then below, for the next slide, you would need an Angus breed page. So for the breed page, you have to have the name of the breed, so it would be Angus, colors of the breed, so black is the main color for Angus, characteristics or traits of the breed, so you would want to put where it's from, anything interesting about it. So for Angus, it's the main purebred registered breed in the United States, so that's a fact or characteristic about it. And then at least 2 photos of the breed. So pretty much the information that you're taking on your notes, you're going to conform that into a book version, either on PowerPoint, or again, you can draw it, color it, do it on paper, and take pictures to submit it. But you're going to put that into that formation so that if somebody was reading about the different breeds, they could read it through your book. Any other questions, concerns? Is anybody not able to see this when they go to the breed book? Can everybody see that? Okay.
So it's 7 pages, right?
No, it should be probably 20 pages.
16, 20? Okay.
Because you'll have your title page, and then you'll have a beef cow page, then you'll have an Angus page, a Hereford page, a Brahma page, and then you just keep going. So each thing should be a slide, pretty much.
When is it due?
It's due next Friday, I think, is what I put.
Okay. All right.
All right. Any other questions?
I don't see the rubric nowhere. I can't find it.
You can't see this?
No, ma'am.
When you click on it? Okay. I'll send it to you so that
All right.
you have it. All right, anybody else have any questions? Any questions on your notes for today? If you hadn't done them yet, they're the poultry notes. They're just like the other notes that you've been doing, so they should be pretty easy. If you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and log off. I hope you have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Have a good birthday, Zanaya. Enjoy it, and I will see you on Monday. If you need help, feel free to stay on.
All right, I'm out.
Bye, John.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye, Wilson.
Have a good weekend, Miss Tart.
You too, Josiah.
Bye.
Bye.